Welcome to the Volunteer Youth Worker Podcast. Youth ministries rise and fall on the volunteers. So we are here to encourage and equip you. Join the conversation as we tackle the practical questions you are asking so you can help the next generation know Jesus.
Welcome to the Volunteer Youth Worker Podcast. It is really fun for me to be here with my new friend, Kristel Acevedo, and to talk about a new project that just came out with Fuller Youth Institute. And I know if you've been around the youth worker community in this last season, if you've showed up at something, you might have heard us talking about the 3 big questions. You may just have heard us talking about this project because we think it's pretty incredible and helps us on our discipleship journey. And Kristel had the opportunity to help write a new piece of this project, which I'm excited to talk to her about. But first, let me just say welcome, Kristel. So glad you're here.
Yes, thank you for having me.
This is so fun. I love just hearing a little bit, as we got to talk a little bit, that you're the spiritual formation director at your church, and yet you choose to volunteer with teenagers.
I do, yes. So when my husband and I first moved to our area and started attending our church, I was looking for a place to serve, and I had served in different areas at other churches, but I was looking for something new and fresh. And so a friend of mine actually invited me to the teens ministry because they were having a water bash, and I thought, oh, that's fun. Like, yeah, I'll bring my kids. It'll be great. I'll check it out. And, that's how they get you. They lure you in with fun and pizza, and then they're like, hey, why don't you lead this group of girls? And I said, sure, why not? Honestly, I did not know what I was getting myself into. And there are several times within that first year of leading that small group that I walked up to the student director and I was like, listen, I quit. But I stuck with it because I really fell in love with those girls, and I really fell in love with teenagers and with Gen Z in general because I love their whole vibe. I love their spirit. I love just that they bring their whole selves to the table, And so now I have been serving with that group of girls since they were in 6th grade, and now they're in 10th grade. And I'm just proud that we survived middle school because doing middle school a second time, wow, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. But, now we're firmly in high school. We're getting driver's licenses. We're getting jobs. It's so much fun to see them growing up and all of that. And so it's just been great. And when I started working for my church, some people thought like, hey, is this going to be too much for you? Like that you're working full time and then are you still going to serve? Are you going to have time for that? And I said, you know what? I'm committed to this. I committed to these girls when they were 11 years old, and I want to see it through until they graduate high school because I think it's important to have a stable connection to show them that I'm there, that I'm not just going to abandon them, but that I actually care for them and I want to be like there for them.
I love that.
So it's been fun. And yeah, sometimes it's a balance, but I make it work and it's worth it.
It's worth it. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. What gives you the most hope about this generation?
I think what gives me the most hope is that this generation is seeking to be authentic. They are not here for trite answers. They're not here for fluffy faith. They want the real deal. They want to understand like who God is and how does God work in this world and what does this mean for us like right here, right now, And I see this generation as being really active and taking their faith to action, not just relegating it to, okay, I'm going to do a quiet time and then whatever, no, they want to actually make change, positive change in this world.
They do. They really do. That's so cool. I love that you see that. Now, this podcast, the majority of people listening are volunteers, and they are probably leading a small group somewhere. Mm-hmm. And if you could give them one tip, because you're like, I've now learned this. What is one tip that you're like, this made me better? I have now, you survived middle school. So I mean, what's something that made you better or that you're like, pass this tip on to any new youth leader?
Okay, I don't know if I'm necessarily better, but I will say like to just stick with it and to know that it doesn't have to be perfect or tidy. that it's going to be very messy. So just expect it to be messy, and just be there. I think what I have learned about leading this group of girls is that what they care about the most is that I am there. It doesn't matter if I am cool or have like the latest sneakers or if I know so much about the Bible. Like, they just care that I care about them, that I authentically love them. And so ask God to give you the eyes to see the people, the youth in your group for who they are, for who He has created them to be, and to help you embrace them in that way.
So good. So good. Okay. Well, I mean, as much as I could talk to you about leading a small group for a while, that is not why we're here. Tell us about this new project, what just came out, and how you got involved with it.
Sure. So this is a book called Three Big Questions That Shape Your Future. It's really a devotional, if you want to call it that, but it's a 60-day exploration helping teenagers to see like what their identity is, where they belong, and what their purpose is. And so I got connected to Brad and Kara basically through Instagram, somebody recommended me to somebody who recommended me to somebody else. And then eventually, we had a Zoom call, and it was just such a great fit. I think we have the same heart for teens. I think we have the same message that we want to carry to them. And it's funny because even before I knew anything about the project and we were just chatting, I started telling them, like they were asking me, what do you see as a need in your teens at your church? And I started talking basically about identity, belonging, and purpose. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so when they shared what the project was about, I was like, look at that. Like, this is the Holy Spirit moving. Because,
Yes.
God is trying to tell us something about this generation, and he has people all over the place,
Yes.
and he brought us together for this purpose of creating this resource that I think is so needed, because there are not many resources specifically for teens. There
Right.
have been books written for adults, for parents, for youth workers, but nothing for teens to really hold on to that speaks to them. And so that's what I'm excited about this project, that I got to help create a resource that I can now give to my girls at my church in my small group, and say, here, read this. Let's go through this together. Let's talk about this and create that conversation.
That's so good. And that's so real. I mean, the amount of times that I get asked, like, what devotional would you recommend for a teenager? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
And so I love that you guys created this. Tell us a little bit about the type of teenager you feel like this is best for.
I think this is for the teenager who has questions and doesn't know where to find the answers, which I think is most teens.
Yep. I was like, so everybody.
Yes,
Okay.
so everyone, basically. Because we all, especially, I mean, everyone, no matter your age, has questions about identity, belonging, and purpose. I hear it from adults too, all the time. But there's something about this age, this stage of life where you are coming out of being a kid and transitioning to adulthood and figuring out, okay, I'm not necessarily my parents, but who am I? I'm not necessarily like this where I grew up, but like, who am I? And where do I belong? Do I belong in the church? Do I belong with this group or that group? And what am I supposed to do with my life? Like, the teens are figuring out, like, what are we going to study, or what kind of job do I think I want to have, or they're kind of figuring out who they are and what they're supposed to do with their life. And
Yep.
so this book is for those teenagers, which again is probably all teenagers. Maybe there's some teen out there who has it all together. I haven't met them yet, but
Me neither.
and this book is not necessarily supposed to give all the answers. I'll say that too, like, spoiler alert, we don't have all the answers. However, we have a God who is there for us, and we are really guiding the teenagers to scripture, guiding the teenagers to Jesus, and helping them to know that our God is the God who is okay with questions. Our God is not scared of their questions, but our God wants to hear their questions, and that God has answers for us in his word. And so if we would take the time to listen for his voice, to read his word, that we will find the answers that we're looking for.
That's so good. And I'm excited about that because
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big deal, right? For kids, like the world is screaming at them about who they
Mm-hmm.
should be or what they should
Right.
be about or what they should look like. And yet so much of that just causes more confusion, anxiety, and just like
Mm-hmm.
unassurity. And yet if we can point them towards Jesus, that's where they can
Mm-hmm.
actually find. But that doesn't mean the questions stop because I'm pretty sure I
Yep.
still have some.
Me too.
So, yep. Me too. Yep, that's so good. So when you think about this and you think about, the girls even in your group getting a chance to go through this, what parts of it just get you the most excited? Like what was a passion point for you in
Mm-hmm.
this?
Right. Well, I'll say for me specifically, one of my passion points is ethnic identity. I'm a Latina. I grew up in Miami, a city of immigrants. And when I became a Christian, I felt this tension of is my ethnic identity good enough? Do I need to assimilate to a majority culture? Like what? I felt very confused and I didn't know what to do with my Latina-ness. You know what I'm saying? With my
Yeah.
my loudness, my dancing, my music, my food, all of that. And so like what do I do with this? And for a long time I just stuffed it down. And
Mm,
it wasn't really until I became an adult and had my own kids that I realized that I wanted them to know where they came from, that I wanted them to understand their culture, their ancestry. And so I started doing a lot of digging about what God says about ethnic identity. And what I learned was that God creates us all on purpose and for a purpose. And so our ethnic identity is not a mistake or a coincidence, even. Our ethnic identity is given to us as a gift that we get to share with the world. And so I want to help teens understand their ethnic identity or even other parts of who they are, that God created them for a reason and that we get to embrace that. We get to give it to God as a worship offering, and that we don't have to hide, that we get to be who we are, fully ourselves, and know that God sees it and loves it, and that we have a purpose for it. Like even with my specific story of being a Latina, when I was younger, I did not want to speak Spanish, for example. I felt so embarrassed about speaking Spanish. And now, the older I've gotten, the more I have embraced this gift that I am bilingual. And I've had opportunities to even, write in Spanish or create Bible studies in Spanish. And I'm like, what a gift that I get to do this and that I get to share like with my abuelita who only speaks Spanish and she gets to read my words. And I don't know, it's just been, for me, I've been on a beautiful journey of embracing my ethnic heritage and ethnic identity. And I want to help teens to understand theirs and know that it is good.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah.
yeah, how important is that, right? For us to
Mm-hmm.
get to see the fullness of how God uniquely created each one of us, right? Connected
Mm-hmm.
to so many things and what it looks like for us to live into the fullness of that. So
Yeah.
good. So good. Okay, so you're talking to small group leaders, you're talking to youth workers, and who should they buy this book for? Is it good for like middle schoolers and high schoolers?
Mm-hmm.
Should they do it with them together?
Mm-hmm.
How should they use this resource?
Sure. I think there are so many different ways. As far as age group, I would probably say around 14 and up.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think younger students, depending on maturity level and all of that, could read it and gain from it. But perhaps in that case, reading it together might be better. I mean, I do that with my son sometimes with like different devotionals or books that I buy from. We'll read it together. And so that way he has the opportunity to ask questions and whatnot. Um, but as far as like, you can hand this book to a teen and they could take it and run with it, I would say 14 and up. And I think again, it could be a gift for like your son or daughter, or for your neighbor, or just a teenager that you know in your life. It could be like a gift that you give them and say, hey, read through this, and there's journaling questions, and you can go through it, and it could be an individual thing, or you could use it as a small group curriculum and say, hey, as a small group, we're going to read through this book together. Let's read part 1 by this date, and then we'll share some of the questions and some of the answers that we gave and all of that. There's also at the end of each section So after the devotional, there's a reflect and respond section where it has journal questions, but then there's also what we call something to try, which is basically an action step. And so it would be really cool for small groups to try an action step together. Like, okay, we're all going to do this action step, this something to try, and let's report back, or let's do it together and see, have conversation about how it went or what we think this all means. Because one of the things that I want to help teenagers do is come out of themselves, because a lot of times teenagers internalize a lot, and just see that there's a world out there, that there's other people out there that we can impact, and that they don't have to wait until they're adults to make a positive impact in their community, but they can do it right here, right now.
Yes. I'm excited about this book. I want to get it now. I want to get going with some kids.
Get it, girl.
So good. And for a generation that's looking for a way to live their faith out, right? What a great thing. That's so fun. Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this all plays out. I think the book itself, 3 big questions that every teenager is asking for adults as a youth leader, I think it's such a helpful resource for us to think about how to help disciple kids well. But then this is incredible that you guys created this, that teens could get it for themselves and figure out how to find the questions, or find the answers in Jesus. Very cool. And get their feet on the ground. Love it. Love it. Okay. Well, I know in the show notes, we will make sure people know how to buy the book. We'll make sure people know how to access you and access all these things. But if you could tell youth workers today that are out here just trying to love some teenagers, wondering why they're doing it, especially when they're with middle schoolers, on the days that are hard, what would you tell them? Why is what they do, why does it matter?
It matters because teenagers, Gen Z, they're not just the church of tomorrow, but they're the church of today. If we want teenagers to embrace who they are in Jesus, if we want teenagers to continue to do the work, to partner with God and live out his love and grace and mercy in this world, then we cannot discount them. We have to do the work of being with them, of mentoring them, of praying with them, of pointing them to Jesus so that they can continue to live out their faith today and tomorrow.
Yes.
Keep going. You got this.
Drop the mic right there and say thank you. Kristel, this has been so fun. Thank you so much just for your time, just for coming to hang out with. Probably a lot of Canadians are going to hang out with you listening to this.
I love Canada so much. Invite me to Canada, guys. I'll go. I'll be there.
Okay, let's go. We got you. We got you. But thank you for what you do. Thank you for loving kids towards Jesus. Thank you for this new resource. We're excited to get to use it. And thanks for just hanging out today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to get to hang out with you all today and to give you this resource so you can share it with your teens.